the mothership. Boy, was it freaking great. Been a while. Woo! Oh my God. Did I have fun on the freaking mothership? Will Shatner was there. Huge. Big dick. No wonder why he, is the captain of the Starship Enterprise. Gotta love me some Captain Kirk. Oh, wait. My boobie's coming up here. Let me get those down. Oh, my goodness. Saw Sarah Rachel Adams on the mothership. Oh, my God. Those big silicone boobies, when there's no gravity, woo! They're going all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Sarah Rachel Adams is the Courtney Love of the Super Soldier program. All right? So anyway, I got something happened in here, It was fast. I got to thank Spock for, helping me out here. Oh, Lauren, we found your baby. I took him back on the mothership. And so he's here, and I'm going to be okay with babysitting him. So that's really, really wonderful. So I see some of you guys are saying that. Oh, you're saying hi. Everybody's saying hi to each other. Oh, you're all saying hi, Terry Joy Space Mama. Hi. Yeah. Happened to me too. Whew. Maybe it'll come out before Halloween. Who knows? Courtney Love. Yes. Courtney Love. Right on. Yeah. So I went on the mothership. Lauren was there. She's probably going to be knocked up. So, you're probably going to hear from her. She probably is impregnated again. So who knows what's going to happen with that. So tonight, because of the fact that I have become more psychic from being on the planet, I'm being on the mothership. I was wondering if you guys wanted me to do a reading for you. So I'm going to take some questions from the chat. So whatever you guys want me to read, if you have, it's a party tonight. Yeah, absolutely. All right, but I can't drink. Oh, my boob's coming out again. All right, I can't drink. Smoking's okay though. When you have an extraterrestrial baby, you can smoke. So I'm smoking for 2. All right. So anyways, anybody have a question for me? I have a question. Are you sure James wasn't the father? All right, let's find out if James was the father. Hold on. I got my 8-ball. No, he was not the father. Anybody else have a question? Anybody else have a question for the 8-ball? Question for the 8-ball. Questions? Baby, what is this? Baby Gragu has been dragged into this nonsense. Yes. All right, so honestly, guys, any questions? Any questions for the 8-ball? I'm ready to go. I'm waiting. Anybody have a question? Question for the 8-ball? No? Well, let me know. Let me know if you have a question for the 8-ball because it's right here, and I don't mean 8-ball. I mean 8-ball. All right. So can baby time travel? All right. I don't know. Let's find out. Asking in later. Hold on. Yes, baby can time travel. Okay. Here's another one. Will Sarah and Lauren ever make up? Yes. In another alternate reality, they will make up, and and they will be happy on planet Zulu. Yeah, definitely. All right. Okay. So I don't know how long I'm gonna end up doing a show, but I want to give some of the things. I should probably take this. Maybe I'll take my bowl out. It's time traveling, baby. It's its own father. Yeah, immaculate. It's not immaculate conception for me. I actually, engaged on the mothership. So it was a really big party. And look, it's already here. It's only been one night. So it's fast, right? So we'll see. Will it come out looking like Lauren's baby? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's going to come out looking like Lauren's baby. All right. Should probably. Oh, I just ash on the floor, but we'll clean it up later. Okay, I should stop smoking because it's bad for you. But I wanted to do the bit, so I figured I got cigarettes just for the bit. Yeah, an 8-ball. This is a relic, right? It's hard to read it though. I think I have to have my cheater glasses to actually even see the thing. But it's got the little thing in here. Okay, so fun aside, let's pop this puppy out. Take these out. Yeah, I have no boobs. And I will put this over here. Yeah, I think, this needs to be kind of made fun. Oh, does Captain Kirk that just gave me an image of a head in a freezer. Oh no. All right, I'm just going to throw this over just because I don't want to sit here with a baby mama t-shirt. Now that's commitment. Yes. I committed to the bit, right? I committed to the bit. And I did pictures on Twitter. I did pictures and I took a pregnant picture for Facebook, and I put it up on Facebook too, because if Lauren could have pictures of herself pregnant and everything, and then we don't know where the baby went to, then I thought, well, I could just lampoon it a little bit, because here's the thing, and I wish Lauren would be a little bit more understanding when people don't want to believe that she was impregnated by immaculate conception, because really people have issues with Mary having Jesus as immaculate conception. There's people who don't believe that either, but at least Jesus, we know a man grew up and went somewhere, and there's a story about him, not just somebody was pregnant and then they're not pregnant. And then, their baby is, an alien baby, space mama. And, and if people are not going to believe it, you have to understand that probably nobody's going to believe it. And so, or question it. You can't punish people, and like what happened on Steve Cambian's show, right? And just screaming and yelling and punishing people for not buying into the pregnancy. Lauren Stream, I see you. Okay, so yeah, here's some things. There's a few things that I want to share with you, and I had originally I could show graphics and reasons why I believe this, but I want to let you guys know how I first discovered Lauren Pritchard and what she was saying about Sarah Rachel Adams being an AI, black goo, black hole kind of person that she's been saying on her channel, right? And I had people sending me videos from her and saying, oh, you know what? She's talking about Sarah too. And I'm thinking, so I looked at it and I was like, yeah, I just, the whole, there was one video where she talked about a movie, and I think she even showed the trailer of the movie, and it had Scarlett Johansson playing the part. And I actually even watched the movie. I found it on the internet, and I was watching this character that Lauren was saying that, that Sarah was like, and I thought, oh, okay, this is interesting. But I just kind of didn't think much about it. I thought this is I didn't think that it had much weight, because my experiences with Sarah Or when I talk about her and I show things that, or I show graphics of threats that she makes to me, or some of the harassment that happens on Instagram. That to me, those are concrete things where I say, hey, this person that is marketing themselves as a life dimensional coach, or giving readings and psychic healings, and going on different channels and saying that she's channeling God's source, or speaking on behalf of God and all this kind of stuff, and I see some of the comments on some of the shows that she's on, like, oh, Sarah, you're such a wonderful person, and oh, love and light, and all this kind of stuff. But if you really knew what Sarah really spends her time on, the amount of time that she has spent on coming after me or threatening me on my social media, how could she do it if she's spending that much time threatening me? And so when I talk about Sarah and what she does, or I did there's a video where I did readings of things that she wrote to Holly Baglio and lampooned it. Just these horrific emails that she's written to people, just nasty, nasty stuff. And I lampooned that, right? But it's really serious. And she's done it to a lot of people. And, we can, I really appreciate some of the people in this media that questions, the narrative of a lot of the people that, and C.W. Chanter talks about how we are a community, that we're, and all of us have our own journey of, following these guys. Like when I first joined this media, I was not in it. All right. And I was, watching videos on Project Camelot. I was watching videos about James Casbold and Max Spears, even before. Hi, Veronica. Good to see you here tonight. Michael Williams. Yay. Great to be here. Hi, Michael. I'm really happy to see that you guys showed up tonight, and welcome. If you haven't been to my channel, again, thank you very much for being here. And if you are, if you came a little bit late, you missed the whole, pregnant dance and, the Yoda doll. Well, it's not, this is actually Lauren's baby. But okay, so where was I in this? So I said about how I got into following this kind of stuff, because I think that, all of us, we kind of started to get curious, like what is really going on here? Is there really aliens? Ancient aliens on the History Channel. I had been reading David Wilcock and listening to him way back to 2011, before we got to what we're supposed to be the end of the Mayan calendar, and we were all going to have Ascension and break off into the new Earth, back then, right? Then I watched the thing that happened at the pizza parlor go down, and the Buanon stuff, and then watch how the Buanon stuff affected our politics here in the United States. And when you really look at it, the genesis of Buanon really came from our community, unfortunately. I'd hate to say this, but it came from our community, and the people that, call themselves the truth media, call themselves, oh, this is the truth, this is really what's going on, I think had exploited that. And they're continuing to exploit it today. And so I think it's not that, I'm here and I'm going to say, oh, there's no such thing as extraterrestrials. I have just as much curiosity as everybody else. But I think that we need to have discernment about the people that we're listening to. And we also need to be mindful of how we really are treating each other. It's okay to disagree about stuff. It's okay to contemplate things. And, I just wish that, maybe Lauren would have been a little bit more graceful about what, how the questions that she was being asked. Now, I want to get into some of the stuff that I want to let you know how, again, go into a little bit more of how I discovered Lauren. So I had people show me her video. I looked into her, and then I had somebody show me how she was connected to Sarah on Facebook. And what I found interesting about her Facebook page is that it seems like she just got active on her Facebook page recently. And Sarah was commenting on her Facebook page. And some of the comments, I'd love to have a cup of coffee. Hold on, let me come back. I want to go get my coffee. Just maybe I'll play another song while we're waiting, because I just really feel like there's some coffee, there's some milk. I love this. A pleasant conversation, or are they doing this Facebook stuff so that we can look like there's a big fight between the two people? Like, I blocked Sarah on every single social media platform that I have, and she will even create another account. Like, for example, the tweet that she made yesterday was from a different Twitter account because I blocked the other one. So she created another one to like @Terry Joy so that I can see her, say that there were a bunch of people that when Max died wanted him, the people that were like involved with Max's death also wanted her dead, and they were haters. And now there's these new haters, and Tina Black and Terry Joyce are involved in that, and they want me murdered. And I thought this is just absolutely, ludicrous. And again, I made a video about it yesterday, and I posted it on my social media. And by the way, people that are my friends on Facebook, like, I don't know if these guys realize it. My whole life has not been and does not revolve around this particular media. So when I post, pictures that she's, had done on my Instagram with penises, like, written, drawn onto my face and stuff like that, they realize that somebody is doing something to me on social media. And I'm talking about colleagues that were comedians in the comedian business, that work in the entertainment business and things like this. Like, they know that something else is happening to me on my social media. As a matter of fact, when I posted the last thing that she said, a really good friend of mine that has been a mentor to me, is a pretty prominent comedian, right? He goes, you know what? You need to lean into this and keep talking, because they want to shut you up. She wants to shut you up. And that's what this is all about. And really, I asked myself, and I'm talking about Sarah now, why is Sarah doing this to me over and over again? For example, like 2 months, like a month and a half ago, she found me and said, oh, Terry Joyce isn't your real name. And I'm going to, and then she said another name, which is not exactly my legal name. Terry Joyce is my stage name, and it's been my stage name for a really long time. I get paychecks under Terry Joyce. Terry Joyce is registered with the Screen Actors Guild. And Terry Joyce was the person that was on Last Comic Standing. And, a lot of entertainers have another name than the name that you see on the screen. Joyce, by the way, is my mother's first name. And I turned around and I made it my last name because my real last name that I was born with is hard to pronounce. And I figured, Terry Joyce, it's short, it's 2 first names, it works, But she was going to go in and call my college and go, she's not a real journalist. Well, let me tell you what I'm studying in college, all right? I was a theater arts major back in the day. And when I decided to go back to college, I decided to get a degree in journalism. I figured that if I did get a degree, if I did know what I was doing, it would give me credibility to, maybe really do some real reporting on something. Or, even as a person who could be quasi funny, but giving the news, a journalism degree would be really great. Now, we had a speaker in our class, and I'm taking a screenwriting class too, by the way, just so I'm taking fiction writing, screenwriting, journalism, English 3, critical thinking, and I took a social media class that I just did my final on that I posted here on my page. So I'm going through, I'm trying to get educated and be a better content provider and be a better critical thinking about the stuff that I'm talking about. And I really think that it's important that we become media literate, that we realize when we're being taken for a ride. We realize when somebody's maybe, scamming or whatever. And I want to talk about Lauren in relation to what is she not okay mentally, or is she just a big put on? I've had a lot of people, for example, C.W. Chanter's take on her, there's people who maybe have been attracted to some of these people, say James Casbolt and Super Soldier Program and MK Ultra and all that kind of stuff, Starseed, Twin Flames, all this kind of conversation. There might be some people, they get kind of attracted to something and they do get a little wacky on it. And then maybe they're the personality that ends up wearing the horns that goes into the Capitol building. He also was the shaman. There's these characters, these people that have this kind of fringe thing that if they aren't inciting something, then they will trigger somebody else who's not okay to go do something. So one of the things that I'm uncomfortable about that Lauren Pritchard is doing is that when you watch her videos, she'll be saying things like, I hate these people. I hate these people. And you know what? Maybe you should just be eliminated. Maybe you should just be taken off the earth. I mean, I'm not saying I'm violent, but somebody else may just eliminate you guys because you're nothing but a bunch of cyber, hive mind, Luciferian, whatever. She plays around in this sort of satanic Luciferian thing. That's a lot of classes. Yeah, it is a lot. I had 14 units. Normally, they say 12 units as being a full-time student. I started with 14. I finished one of my classes, so now I'm just down to the 12 units. But yeah, I'm a full-time student. So I don't have time to plan a murder for Sarah Adams. If you notice, I haven't even been able to really live stream. I've done little tiny videos saying little things here and there. I've given suggestions of stuff that I'm looking at, like, hey, this is a really good video to check out or whatever. But, it's not like, my entire focus is able to be on with these people. But at the same time, they distracted me a little bit the last couple of days. As a matter of fact, when it started to crank up and I knew that it was going to be happening, Lauren goes full tilt crazy at the mere mention of an actual question. Yes. And I learned in my critical thinking class, and she goes, oh, this is just word salad. But what she's doing is it's called illogical fallacies. So when people slip into arguments, they will do this. And what she's doing is called ad hominem. And it means that she poisons the well. So instead of answering the question, she insults the person who's actually asking the question. Anything that's opposed to her, there's something wrong with their character. And it's a pattern. And I gotta say, a lot of people in this media has done that to people. If they came out, oh, they're a drug addict, or oh, they're she's doing this, or like to just pass everybody off as like they're like to call C.W. Chanter a psychopath is way over the top. I mean, I don't agree with everything that C.W. Chanter says all the time, but that's why I like listening to him. I think it's important to listen to people that you don't agree with sometimes. And sometimes later on, just because you didn't agree with them or it was pushing a button in you about your belief system or something like that, sometimes you realize that the thing that person was saying, you go, oh my God, they were right. Like I had an attitude about that, but like as time has come full circle, I realized that they have a point. Or just at least, acknowledging that you go, oh, well, just acknowledging somebody else's feelings, validating the way they feel is, I think, at least being respectful to somebody else's argument about something is important. But the videos, the threats that she made, she had, what was it? Any real, like she had the title of a video for C.W. Chanter, any real man would just open season on him for saying the things that he's been saying. Really, it's like she is I think when somebody gets in front of the camera and says, oh, a real man would open season on C.W. Chanter, that is like inciting somebody else to do something. And you know what? There might be a nut job, and then to mention where they live at, because she goes, and he lives in blank, he lives here. So, if you're in that area, maybe you can find him there. It's somebody could be crazy. Somebody could be like, the person who went and shot the pizza parlor. I'm going to take these things into my own hands. You don't know that. You don't know what you say in front of a camera, and you're calling yourself a spiritual leader. You're acting the part of somebody that is bringing the real truth and the real spirituality to people. So you're hooking them in almost into like a cult-like thing. Right. And believe me, there have been all kinds of different little cults that involved aliens. Just think about the guys who took the cyanide and they wore the Nike tennis shoes. All right. Like stuff like this, people do strange things. And, to just sit back and go, well, that just doesn't really mean anything. The definition of hate speech is inciting violence on a person or a group of people. And, Lauren gets in front of the camera and goes, I hate him. I hate this person. I hate Sarah. I hate this. I hate that. And then she puts I hate in the title. All right. And it's not good. That's my feeling about it. Matter of fact, I'm going to be honest and say that I find it unsettling. It actually upsets me to witness it and to watch it happen. All right. I think she was hoping someone would TBH. See, I'm looking at you guys. Okay, Adam Mine says manipulator maybe, but not a psychopath. Wink, wink. Maybe. I mean, look, we're all kind of connected to each other. In what we're all watching and commenting on. I used to be a lot more gullible. Like I interviewed Randy Kramer in the past. I interviewed Duncan O'Finian. Duncan O'Finian. I went O'Finian Duncan. No, I interviewed O'Finian Duncan. When I was on Revolution Radio, my show was before Douglas Dietrich for like 2 years. I heard Christine come onto his show before he got his show. And let's talk about Tash for a moment. I knew Tash way back then. I even interviewed Tash. I think I might have interviewed him before he even started his own channel. He would tell me, you think I could do my own show? I go, yeah, of course I think you could. And he goes, well, I don't really like my voice. I go, no, but you can do it. And so, I had him on my show. He was the go-between. He would sometimes call me up. Matter of fact, before Max passed away, when I was on Revolution Radio, Taj would call me, do you want to interview Sarah? Or do you want to interview Christine? I interviewed Christina Hart literally a week or two before Max passed away. And Sarah the same. The whole timing of it was kind of interesting. Unfortunately, for me, when it comes to Sarah, and this is why I think Sarah has gone after me. I think this is what pisses her off, it's caused a bit of a ripple. What's this? Why does everyone suspect saying of killing Max? I don't know what SEEAG is. I'm not saying Sarah killed Max. All right. I mean, let me just make that clear. I can't say that because I don't have any real evidence of something like that. But what I have said is, okay. When I started to watch, that interview and I have it uploaded here on this channel. There was the first interview that Carrie Cassidy and Miles Johnston did before when Max Spears died. It was the first interview, and they were taking testimonies of everybody who was in contact with him at the time of his death. And one of those people that Miles Johnston brought on the show was a woman named Sandra DeRoy. And Sandra DeRoy is a filmmaker that came on board with Miles Johnston, did some videos, was entered into a film festival that Miles Johnston put together. And right around that time, Miles Johnston pulled Sandra DeRoy onto the broadcast. It comes at the end of the broadcast, and you can listen to it again. And Sandra DeRoy says that Max Spears was not involved with Sarah at the time, that he thought Sarah was toxic, and that he, at the time of his death, and this was like maybe a few days, like I think she talked to him a week before he passed away. He mentioned something like he was clean and sober, that he was doing really good, and that he was working on keeping out negativity out of his life. I'm paraphrasing, but she says something like this. And then another thing that happens on that interview is he mentions Sarah, and he mentions about some sort of pills that were given and that they may have been given by Stuart Swerdlow's wife. Remember that dialogue? And, then he says Sarah's really upset and this and that. Okay, so that happened, right? Then later on, when Taz starts interviewing Sarah, when Sarah when the BBC starts to do stuff about the death of Max Spears, and they cover that. And then some of the papers that came out, some of the publications, if you can remember back then, there were things where Sarah was, his fiance, they were going to get married and have a baby. There were articles where she said, and Max was being targeted by Satanists, that wanted him dead. And there was this whole other myth that got spilled out into the mainstream media. There was also talk of that his cell phone, Max Spear's cell phone, and his computer, the information on it was wiped. And one of the stories was that the cell phone initially, the information on the cell phone was wiped because it fell in the bathtub. And then it fell in the bathtub because Sarah and Max were sexting with each other. And there was some sort of like group, I think that was on Facebook, where Sarah made a joke about it. And she said something, oh, I'm so glad because there was probably some naked pictures in there and blah, 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 right? So when Taj went on Sean Atwood's show a while ago, earlier this year, and with Sandra DeRoy, and it was like, oh, there's new information about surrounding the death of Max Spears. Sandra DeRoy was saying that Miles Johnston knew that something was up with Max and told her not to go. And then there was this threat, like, if you do go, you're gonna, they're gonna break your pretty face or something like that, right? So she was told not to meet Max in Poland because she was going to go there and meet him to work on a film. But then, she was told not to go. All right. So there was a forewarning. If that's true, then there was a forewarning that they were going to do something to Max. So when Taj was on Sean Atwood's show and saying, oh, I'm Sarah Rachel's manager, and he's sitting there, and Sandra DeRoy had a completely different story about, Sarah's relationship to Max. And yet Taj is on the show and they're talking about the cell phone falling in the bathtub, and this and that. So what's the truth? Like, my question is if Sarah wasn't really in a relationship with Max at the time of his death, then the story about the cell phone falling into the bathtub, and that's the reason why it was wiped, it would not be true. It would not be valid, right? It would not be valid. It would be made up. It would be a made up story that we have just bought into. Now, forget about the fact, like, I don't want to have the argument of whether he, because like C.W. Chandler goes, look, he was just an addict and, and so he OD'd and he had a problem. He OD'd and it was a problem. There was no foul play. Fine. That, like if you believe that, that's fine. All right. Regardless of that, there's a mishap in here. There's two different stories, and Taj sat in the center of both those people. When Sandra DeRoy did her videos, about how it first came out, when she started to do these videos and say, oh, I knew something, I should have come out and said it before. 5 years later, she comes out and says, oh, these other things happened, and I want to come out and say that they were actually doing this, and she's pointing a finger at Miles Johnston for it. All right, that's some serious stuff right there, right? Isn't it? But then Sarah and Taj gave Sandra, and she says it in her video, I got a blessing from Sarah and Taj to give this information. Okay, so they're giving you a blessing, but in the beginning, you said something completely opposite than the relationship that Sarah had with Max. Now, I asked Vanessa Bates myself. I said, was Sarah involved with Max at the time of his death? And she said no. All right. She said no. And she said he didn't even know Tash. Well, she came back to me again and said, well, they had talked a little bit, but they weren't like buddy. They weren't like, it was more like a couple of, more like show stuff. Right. And then on C.W. Chandler's show, Tad, he asked this question about Sarah, and he goes, well, I know that Sarah was talking to him because I saw the information. Okay, so you're saying that you saw them talk to each other at that time, but Taj, were you in with Sarah at that time, around her when she was talking to him, or did she like go, here, I was talking to him, here's my cell phone? Because see, regardless if Max's cell phone fell in the water and that information is gone, that conversation should still be on Sarah's phone somewhere. There should be a record of that conversation. Like Sarah should be able to provide that she was talking to him, because she would have the conversation somewhere on herself. Has anybody ever seen a conversation like that posted anywhere? These are my, okay, so I've asked these questions, and I've asked them over and over again on different videos. And I think that this is why Sarah's going nuts, because worst case scenario, Sarah took advantage of this situation, played the media, built her relationship up with Max more than she really was, to boost herself up as being super soldier, this, not, la, 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 like the Courtney Love of the super soldier program. She gets a big boost. She gets shopped around here in Gaia, blah, 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 blah. She gets a team of people behind her to be this, to make money. This is big business. The spiritual world, the UFO. Do you know that back in the day, do you know about the Integratron in California, where, what's his name? Chad Meek is his nephew, and the guy, built the Integratron. Howard Hughes put money into it, and the Integratron. They did the beings, the aliens out at Giant Rock. Said, here's the Integratron. If you make the dome, it will heal people, and it will make a person's life, give your life longevity. You'll live longer. It's like it regenerates. It does something for you. The Integratron, and it wasn't finished. The guy who he mysteriously died like 3 weeks before the Integratron was finished. It's still there. They rent it out for like $500 or something like that. They're making money off of it. But originally, the reason why they called it the Integratron is because the extraterrestrials, or the other beings, said that it must be free. Like, yeah, you can build this, but you can't charge anybody that goes in to get healed, can't be charged for it. That's why it has integrity. It's called the Integratron. That's the history of it. So even like, just think about this for a second. If that is true, and the design was made by other life people forms than we are, and they built that, then their purpose was that people were just to get healed, not that it would be like anybody would make a profit off of it. So think about like what Sarah is doing. She like Taz just went on CW's show and said, she makes $200,000 a year, doing what she's doing. She's booked up 6 days a week doing healings. Well, if she really wanted to heal people like Jesus, like somebody who was going to do something, you would do it for free. You wouldn't just like go out there and like, make a bunch of money off of it. We're talking about healing. And one of the problems that we have right now about healing is that we have people who are doing it for profit. And look at the state that we're in right now when it comes to that. One of the reasons why I got involved with the cannabis plant, and I don't know if you guys know this, but when I came onto Revolution Radio, I was a cannabis advocate, and specifically in California. And I was in a nonprofit, and I was like, I'd done shows on Normal Show Live. I did the Southern California Report, and hemp, paper, fiber, fuel, energy, nutrition, pharmacia, healing ourselves with that. That's what interested me about cannabis. And if you look at, the cannabis oil, which kills cancer cells, and the Rick Simpson story, if you don't know about the Rick Simpson story, look it up here on YouTube. There were people that were going into remission by taking the oil, and Rick Simpson had to leave, I believe it was Canada. He's exiled because he gave it away for free. He said, look, these people are getting cured. And what happened? They put him in jail. So when like that was my realization. Well, what's going on here? If we found something that actually like helps cancer, why aren't you looking into that more? Why are you making it as it's just pot and a drug or whatever, and not opening to your eyes to what's really happening? So that is how initially how I was brought onto Revolution Radio, because they wanted a cannabis show. From there, because I had interest in all the other stuff, right? I started to get involved in interviewing the other people and, looking into the Super Soldier program because I was interested in it. And, I was fascinated by it. And even if like James Casboult's not real or whatever, fantasists, it's entertaining, right? I mean, he was charismatic. These people, when they talk, they're interesting. You listen to them, you get into it. You're like, oh yeah. And, there are some things that I think that they've said, whether, it's something that they learned or they knew or whatever. Some of the stuff is actually really kind of coming to be, right? I mean, we're kind of like in it. So, but I questioned somebody who on the outside, kind of comes in and goes, oh, well, I'm James Casboult's twin flame. And just because you say it means, I don't know, are we supposed to believe it? Right? And one of the things that, I was in the chat when Steve Cambion was doing his show on Truth Seekers. Truth Cat. I used to be on Truth Cat. Truth Seekers. James Casboult has better stories than Max. Yeah, maybe. I mean, they were both different. Max had that kind of soft, puppy dog kind of, real sweet, sincere kind of heartfelt way of saying things, where James Casboult has a, different personality, but so she said she's James Casboult's twin flame. And, okay. And then the pregnancy thing. And the pregnancy thing with Lauren, the pictures of her, with the tummy and everything and smiling. And I mean, I saw one of them it was on Twitter going around, and she's even using one of them in one of her profile pics, and she's got the tummy coming out. She's smiling. Okay. Somebody took that picture. That camera is pretty far away. The lighting's good. She's posed. She's looked up. She's got her stomach. She's making it. She's doing it so her tummy comes out. She's doing a photograph, right? It's not just like, oh, I'm pregnant. Let me, it's like, no, it's stylized. There's thought behind it. Another thing I want to bring up about Lauren is like when you watch her opening of her live stream, she has a great opening. I don't have an opening yet that good. It's all edited that I do when I start my shows out and stuff like that. So she has a produced opening. She thanks Randy Moggins from Off Planet TV. So obviously she's got some sort of connection to Randy Moggins. She thanks her patrons. So she's got patrons. And if you look at her YouTube channel and you go over, you see that she's got a donate button. I don't have a donate button, but when you click onto it, her Patreon is taking donations for a rescue child mission. All right. So her Patreon, she is taking donations for a child rescue. And she's running around the border doing stuff. And there's footage of her, which I saw on Twitter that was edited. I think Spooky edited it, maybe, and posted it. Not sure. I could be wrong on that. But I think it was Spooky. Good edit. I wanted to show it, actually, where she is talking about, well, maybe we should just take those people out at the border. I mean, I'm not saying I'm violent or anything like that. But, they're not even human. Something like that. They should just be eliminated. Again, we have a border situation in the United States. All right. And then she's like she's taking the worst stereotype of what a Christian is and pushing it in people's faces. All right. and playing. It's like a part, it's like, it's like, it's like, oh, here's one of these nutty people that think that blank, blank, blank's going on. Do I think that there's something happening at the border? Absolutely. Absolutely. Do I think that this stuff is happening or sure it is. Sure it is. All right. But we're not allowed to really talk about it on YouTube anymore. And if you do, you get your channel taken down or whatever. So I'm just saying my personal feeling. I'm not advocating any, I don't want to be, whatever. I mean, I've already done all that stuff. I've already, if I'm going to talk about that, I'm going to go do it on Odyssey or some other channel because it's not acceptable here on YouTube. But how does she get away with it? Also, the beer thing. The beer, the brewery, whatever, that made news. There's an article about it, about her being out there claiming that they were Satanists, claiming this thing about the brewery, this and that, blah, 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 blah. It's like what happened to Voodoo Donuts, right? But not as big. Voodoo Donuts was a bigger thing. But it's the same genre of what's going on. And then she's taking donations for it. She is making money off of how often is she at the border? Is she still doing it, or is she just sitting around like putting things in her tummy and saying that she's having a space baby? What are you guys donating to? All right. Beer industrial complex. She seriously hates women. Well, but that's weird because here's the thing. She's talking about the divine feminine all the time and the divine masculine. So, like, do you, if you're a divine feminine, you're not going to hate other women. Like, like women are our friends. If Patreon knew she was a scammer, they would delete her account. Well, maybe they should. Like if you have a child, if you're taking donations for child rescue, does she have a 501c3 nonprofit? Is she paying taxes on that? Because if it's not a charity and it's just going to her bank account, then that's just like she sat there when Cambion said, well, what do you do for a living? Oh, God just provides. Really? Okay. Oh, then we try to like I've talked to some of my friends and they go, well, maybe she's on SSI or maybe she's on disability or, maybe she's, whatever, but maybe she is. But I'll tell you, I noticed on her show, there's a type of, the way her hair is and highlight is called balayage. And somebody says, oh, I love your balayage. You know what? A balayage costs money. All right. The hairdo that Lauren has, that costs money. That's like $100 at least, more, maybe even more. So she's well maintained. All right. Her eyebrows are tweezed good. I mean, look, women know this stuff. All right. I mean, so she's well kept. Okay. I'm looking at something. That girl, Jessica, says she was on Twitter and someone burned down that company's crops and it wasn't her. She would be aware that words have power when she makes threats. Oh, I didn't know that. See? Somebody, for fun, she's trying to ruin lives. Robert Scott says she stalked and threatened many. Are you talking about Lauren or are you talking about Sarah? Because, here's Rudy Roo. So she didn't really have an extraterrestrial baby. Let me ask the 8-ball. Did she have an extraterrestrial baby? No. Wait. Maybe. Try again later. No, I'm like. SA. Okay. SA. Yeah. SA has burned and harmed a lot of people. Had their children taken away from Child Protective Services. Threatened people, more than one person to have I'm going to call Child Protective Services on you. She threatened Vanessa with it. She threatened Vanessa that she was going to call Child Protective Service on Becky before she died. Yeah. Arg. Yeah. It's like, it's too much. It's too much. It needs to stop. You know, and you know, good that Steven's been doing shows about Sarah. Good that I saw that Steven did a show about Lauren and Sarah at the same time. All right, so I want to go through something else about schizophrenia. All right, and I want to read a couple things here that what determines a person who has schizophrenia. One is delusions. So one out of five of these things on the chart would make somebody schizophrenic. Delusions, hallucinations, disorganized speech, grossly disorganized or catatonic behavior, negative symptoms, diminished emotional expression, or abolition. So two of these, delusions and hallucinations, if she does really believe that she's been impregnated and taken pictures and, you know, went on, and obviously, you know, she thinks that something that was happening here. I don't know if she put her stomach out or did a pillow or whatever, but she thought she had immaculate conception. There is an argument. I'm sorry. All right. I mean, I'm going to go with C.W. Chanter, and that's why we have to be careful, because if she's not okay, you know, then something should be done. You know, I mean, or maybe she needs to be, you know, she needs to like get some help. And I don't mean that in like a mean way. I mean, like, is that what's really happening here? But also at the same time, she's really mean and she's like saying things. All right, so let me get back to the connection between Sarah and Lauren. All right, and 2 weeks ago, you know, I saw them on Facebook. I had people show me videos to Lauren about Sarah. Saw them on Facebook. I did a video probably 2 weeks ago, and it's a little short one in between my classes. And I said, well, how interesting that Lauren Pritchard and Sarah Rachel Adams are friends on Facebook. You know, like I go, are you besties? You know, are you together? You know, are you like, what's the thing here? And then I did say something like, you know, maybe we should just give you Lauren Pritchard the Academy Award for having, you know, doing an amazing performance. Because what if this is just, you know, what if these people are just actors, right? I mean, just give me a moment to just, because I'm trying to figure it out. Because the thing about it was like, it was so over the top. I go, this can't be real. This has to be put on. This can't be, like, I personally thought, you know, crazy or manipulative, crazy or show, crazy or an actress, crazy. Because what if someone's a good actress, right? They could just be in front of they could just do a whole thing, you know, running around the border, do whatever, you know. Maybe she's an instigator. She's playing like she's a, you know, like one of those people that's going to cause something, you know, like in the media, you know, like again, aggravating the Buanon thing, aggravating the opportunity for the mainstream media to push a certain group of people and put them into a box. Playing a part, being associated with us, telling people that they're the truth media. You know, it's a bad example. If at all you want to wake people up, or you want to want to discover what it is, what's really going on, what's really happening to us spiritually. If you really want to know these things, then why push that stereotype button? It's negative. It's a negative caricature of what people want to pin who we are. That's what I think. That's why I go, uh-oh, what's this? You know, but she might be crazy. She might not be okay. And if she's not okay, then what does Sarah Rachel Adams care? Like, why would Sarah Rachel Adams be egging her on if she's not a mentally sound person? Like, are you just going to go after somebody that's not mentally sound? For what reason? What threat? With Lauren running around saying, oh, Sarah is a cyborg and she's AI and she's like, you know, whatever she is, right? Blah, 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 blah. What does that matter to Sarah? Because it sounds wacky. What does that matter? Why does Sarah have to control that narrative? Well, here's what Sarah's been doing about it. There are 2 channels on YouTube. One of them is called Codependent and Codependent, right? Oh, Codependent. Oh, he's codependent. All right. And the Judas Goat. The Judas Goat and Codependent have channels that spend a lot of time taking clips of Lauren Pritchard and making a fool out of her. Video after video after video. The same kind of pattern that Hoaxstead does to people. All right. The same kind of thing that they did to Sean Atwood with Daddygate. When you have a YouTube channel and everything that you do is taking clips from somebody else's show and making them seem like they're stupid, blah, 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 blah. I mean, then if that's your entire channel, you don't have any other content on there, you don't talk about any other topics, but that person, that is actually a troll channel. Those channels got shut down. The Daddygate channels that were doing that is a clue for YouTube to go, well, you know what? These people are being blah, blah, blah. Sarah was doing videos with Codependent about Lauren. Codependent started talking to me on my YouTube channel, and they made some comment on one of my Sarah videos. They made some comment like, well, you know what? You went out to dinner in Malibu with Haley Myers and Sarah. It's like as if because I had a dinner, I'm supposed to have some other allegiance. My turning point with Sarah happened when I talked to a woman named Jennifer Elsner who worked with Kevin Moore on his documentary. She was his producer. She told me she was working with Sarah. She was part of Team Sarah. I don't know if she is now. She told me that she was doing Sarah's readings for her and that Sarah was getting a bunch of money for them, but she was only paying her $50. And I go, what do you mean like you're doing Sarah's readings? She goes, oh, she has absolutely no talent. None. She can't read nothing. And I go, you're kidding me. And she goes, yeah. And then she proceeded to tell me, and I'm going to say it. This is the main thing that really I went, no. And she goes, and she said that Vanessa had a thing for her own son. And I said, I'm disgusted by that. I said, I'm absolutely disgusted. And that was my turning point there. I'm just being honest with you that's what happened. That's what I became privy to. So, I had done a video last year about her, about the situation on my other channel. And, then that was the beginning. That was the beginning. And then it's flared up again since I asked that question about the Max Spears narrative. So, and the point of the matter is at this point, we see you, Sarah, if you're watching, because you probably will. It's like we see what you're doing. This community sees what you're doing. And, and really, I think we have an obligation to call the kettle black. I mean, there has to be some people that are going to wait a second here. Take the pillow out of your tummy, stop running around at the border, pull it in, stop threatening people, stop saying that, they should be dead because it's not okay, and reel it in. That's my feeling about it. And really, I'm tired of this. I have other things to talk about. I want to present other stuff. I want to wake up in the morning and not be threatened, I don't want to go on Twitter and see how I'm conspiring to murder somebody, because it's nonsense. It's a joke. All right. Yes, obligated. Okay, I'm going to read some of your stuff. Agree from Answer is watching and having a champagne. She says, congratulations to the baby. Yay. Oh, that's my Yoda. Oh, yes. Okay. The eyes are creepy on this, right? I mean, that's the part that really got me. It was like that. I was like, ooh, that's old. Yoda. All right. Okay. I just, I kind of wanted to just, my feeling, this is my feeling about it. Oh, one more thing. Tina Black. All right, Tina Black, codependent. I found some conversations between codependent and Tina Black, where codependent was thinking that Tina Black was Carissa Renteria, and who's another person that is in this medium. She was on Miles Johnston. Tina Black is not Carissa, but because they thought that it was Carissa and I were connected on Instagram, Carissa got the same dick pics done to her too. Okay, that she got the same kind of abuse that I did, which to me that links codependent and Sarah together. That's that little connection, right? And so codependent has these thugs, I'm going to call them thugs, that are out there doing these things, on Lauren and terrorizing her and making videos together. On Twitter, because I was trying to ignore it, on Twitter, they CC'd me with videos of Lauren talking about me, right? Because they wanted to see my reaction. And when I scrolled down on the people that were CC'd in it, Sarah's blocked Twitter was in that thread. So she was connected to Lauren, myself, Judas Goat, and Codependent were all connected on Twitter together. So Sarah was there observing the whole thing. I think Sarah's part of the whole thing. I think Sarah has these guys working for her. I think that Codependent and Judas Goat are part of the people that have been harassing me probably. Because it seems linked to me. I could be wrong, but it's just a little too close for comfort for myself. So if Sarah's doing these things, she's got people who are in her posse that are doing the same kind of thuggery on YouTube that they did to Sean Atwood, then she's working with people that know how to do that kind of stuff. So pretend feuds for the divide factor. You know what? Okay, here's the thing. I think the Lauren Pritchard thing is a red herring, meaning that she's a distraction. And I think Sarah would love to have me lumped in with her so that she can sit back and laugh at it all. And just have, here's these crazy people, that follow Jesus. And I'm going to put these two women and let people think that this is the same. I'm not the same as Lauren, and I'm not the same as Sarah. And Lauren she'll be on, I'm not a super soldier and I'm not this and I'm not that. Well, you know what? I'm really not any of this. I'm not in it. I'm not doing my YouTube channel or talking to you guys saying what I'm saying so that I can take donations to rescue children. Or I'm not doing it so that I can market myself as some sort of life dimensional coach. Or I'm going to give you a reading, because I'm not. All right. Now, do I have psychic abilities? Do I see too? Just because you see stuff doesn't mean that you have to take money for it. All right. Just because you're able to see things, or you get premonitions, or something happens to you in a dream, or you get intuition or gut feelings, doesn't mean that you have to market yourself and take money for it. All right. So anyway, I don't know if I have a whole lot more to say than this tonight. But I'm gonna, and I probably will say goodnight here in a minute, but I wanted to address what I thought was going on. I wanted to. Good day, Terry. Hi, Eloquent88. It's nice to see you here. See, what else have you guys said? You like the ponytails? Yeah, this is what is it? Party. That's like a party hair or something like that. It's like a company that you just kind of. My own hair's in here too. That's my own hair right in here, and then you just kind of wrap them around and then, do this kind of thing. They're fun, I mean. I like to have fun. I like to do different things, and sort of, I figured it would be fun. Okay, and good night, all. All right, let me see. Robert Scott says, bottom line, SA's ego and propensity for evils are out of control. It's not the same woman from 5 years ago. She doesn't look like the same woman. And I gotta admit, that the meme I used with this, and that was and I even thought this channel that said those things about me, I'm like, is that even Sarah? Like, is there somebody else using her image and just going to work for her? Like, okay, you create this thing and you create this thing, and you do this to her and see what her reaction is going to be, and blah blah blah. But that photo that I have in this, that's from that Twitter account, and the way Lauren is, that I just snapped a photo. I just took that from one of her shows. That was a face she made in the middle. Like, that face is like one of the frames, that I snapped just a screenshot of and then put it together. But Sarah almost looks like not real in that picture. Like, she almost looks like a blow up doll, what I mean? She's like, and then there's nothing behind her eyes, nothing. It's like her eyes are like blank. And I'm like, what's going on there? It's like, they're like, where's your life? Where's your life in your eyes? It's not there. And then she's supposed to be like someone that it's going to be enlightening for us. The Botox on the lips is way too much. It is way too much. And a lot of women are doing that. I know I don't like that look at all. I mean, a little bit's good, maybe a little bit, not so much, and then the cheeks and the whole, it's just like, she's not that old either, right? I mean, like, isn't she still in her late 30s? And one of the things that I would like to work on, and that's why I'm kind of branding another thing. It's in my video down here. About being older and pro-age empowerment, being healthy, just keeping your face, doing little things. Like, I think about like maybe doing face yoga, or just how to eat right and keep your, like, what is wrong with letting your face just be natural as a woman? To me, that's like really being empowered. That's like really feeling beautiful. Like, our beauty is from inside. It comes from the inside, right? Like, if we're all just so concerned and fearful that this is going away, what matters is here, us, what we think, what we put in our mind. That's what's important. So, I always say, because I don't want to, God, she's been so awful to me. But I don't ever want to say, well, let's just condemn people. They just don't have a chance to be better, and they can't. Of course they can. Like, maybe Lauren will like go, oh my God, maybe and steer herself in a different direction. Another thing about Lauren that I found is that she's been around for a while. 2019, she's done some new age shows, and she's marketed herself as being, one of the most powerful light warriors in existence. and that, and that she was gonna, her mission is to bring the Ascension into the new earth. So she's got that in her background too. She is playing this game, and she was promoting herself 2 years ago. That's probably how she knows Randy Moggins. So for me, with all that, I tend to not think maybe she isn't schizophrenic. But if she is schizophrenic, then we have schizophrenic people getting on shows and talking about things and people believing it. And another thing I want to bring up too is she mentioned that she was pagan and Christian. Yeah. So what is it? If you're pagan, okay. If you're Christian, fine. If you're Jewish, fine. If you're Muslim, fine. All right. I don't want to put down anything, but when you're mixing the two, like even when you read the Bible, right? If you really look at the Bible, like the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not have any gods before me. Numero uno, okay, right there, 10 Commandments. So if you're praying to a higher being, or you're praying to this or that, well, you're not praying to the one God, or the one, or the prime creator, whoever you highest being, the Most High. The Most High does not want you worshiping any other idols. So if you say that you're practicing paganism, that doesn't really go in the Bible. That doesn't really go. So she's pulled both things, and then she takes the worst attribute of what you think a Christian is and runs her mouth off and judges people. It's wrong. I really have a problem with that. And then she came on my channel. I made a joke about the Demi Lovato thing. Demi Lovato says that she has a show coming out about being a UFO experiencer. It's going to be coming on television pretty soon, the singer Demi Lovato. And she says that that we are not to call aliens, that extraterrestrials find the term alien offensive. So I said, hey, Lauren, you better consider calling your baby an extraterrestrial and not an alien because it's offensive. And she got all freaking upset. It's like, take a joke, man. Take a joke. Everybody, if you're a public personality, you can be lampooned and you can be satirized. All right. Take a joke. Take it on the chin, just like everybody else. No, she came on my channel and said, quoted me some Bible quotes and said that I was like an opted hybrid, or opted, AI is running my software. No, it's not. All right. But I do want to talk about that possibility. That is a really there is a possibility that can happen, or that's in the future, because they just did an essay on robotics, and I discovered this part, real singularity, all that stuff, that with, like the neural links and the brain chips, and how people they go, oh, it's really good because, thought can move machinery. Thought can move, like they want to make it so the warfare drones that we can control with our mind, there would be a mind, the interface would be our mind doing it. And the first part of the technology is the mechanical limbs, where they attach it, and then they put a chip, and then the chip in the brain, and then they make it so all of a sudden you're moving things that thing, they can eventually take the chip and create networked persons. They can maybe program people to be not your thoughts. They can actually program a person to influence society too. And it would be part of the human surveillance. And then eventually, we may not, they could hack into our own consciousness. That is a possibility, or it's a possibility in the future. It can happen. And I think that is part of the thing that we need. Like what Elon Musk says is that, Elon Musk and Stephen Hawking, I believe it was in 2010, signed a letter that went to the United Nations asking them to set boundaries, to have provisions against this, because it might be too late later on. Yeah, we don't know what's to come. That is like a real fact. Like the whole transhumanism thing, that could be coming. Now, Lauren acts like it says it's already happening, but there is that possibility. Hey, hi Steve Roden. It's nice to see you tonight. Ain't it kind of, and it kind of makes me sad. You know, they're not happy with themselves. Yes, I know. Yeah, I mean, I something like, I know sometimes my heart just goes, oh, you know, I mean, but they're not, you know, but I get too soft sometimes, you know, and so it's like, no, they got to knock the shit off. Ladies, get it together. We're not going to have a cat fight, you know. Do the right thing. That's what I say. Do the right. Stop it. Stop doing what you're doing. You know, if Sarah wants to, or Taj, and I've said this before, you want to clear up things around Max's death and everything and talk about like how the cell phone, you know, fell in the bathtub and the relationship and, you know, come in and say, oh no, this is what really happened and give your piece, go ahead. All right. But don't do this other shit because eventually I'll have to take legal action. You know, like I have a branding too. I'm a public personality. All right. I have a history of being on television before. All right. I don't want to have people Google my name and see that crap come up. And I don't want you in my algorithm. All right. And that's not fair. And you are sabotaging my ability to make money. And I don't think you have a right to do that because I need to make a living. Whatever I'm going to end up doing. Right? So, they need to be held accountable. Each of them. Yes, they need to be held accountable. And, you know, if they want to do their little, like, whatever between each other, fine. You know, we can just ignore it. You know, if they're targeting you, you have every right. Yes. Yeah. And I have a right to defend myself. And I have a right to come on my channel and defend my platform, you know, by doing it. And then say, well, this is what I think about it. This is what I think about it. So probably, what's our prediction? She gonna do a video about this? Is Lauren gonna go off on me now? Is she gonna, you know, go on and you know, oh, she's an evil person. She's a satanic person, you know. No, you know, honestly, I'm a comedian. That's what I am. And I'm not a journalist yet. SA crossed the line with me too. I'll back you up. Thank you, Robert Scott. Do you want to share what she did in the chat? Terry, dance us out for those who missed the baby bump dance. Oh, okay. All right. Should we do it again? All right, let me put the baby bump in again. My hair might come off now. Okay. Okay. Yeah, all right. Journalist training. Yeah, I'm in journalism training. Right now, my journalism class is mostly, we bought this at Walmart. We bought this at Walmart today. You know, and the lady goes, okay, we'll do it again. All right, and the lady goes, oh, this one's flat. And I go, we want it flat. Because it has a little more, you know, it was like a flat ball that nobody wanted, but we wanted it. All right. So, yeah, let's biggie, satanic panic. Is Lauren like Stan Romanek or nah? Stan Romanek, who's that? I don't know who that is. Okay. Satanic panic. Okay, so I'm gonna dance this out because I can see that my battery is getting low too because I didn't have my laptop plugged in. Okay, should I put the boobs in too? Let's put the boobs in. Like these are double D's. Hold on, where's my boobs? Wait, let's do the boobs. Oh, that's wait. Let me just put the boobs in. I could have just done the whole show this way, right? But you know what? I find like it's harder to sit. Mama, I can't get this way. Take the boobs out. Forget the boobs. Boobs are not right now. Like it's too hard. All right. All right. Okay. So let's. What should I play? I had the B-52s, but here's the other song that I was thinking about dancing to. But then we looked up for the B-52 song because it was like I Googled UFO songs and I decided on the B-52. But originally I was thinking about. Let me see if I can find Spaceman. Let me see. Spaceman. Is this it?